He's one of the premier male vocalists in contemporary music of the last quarter century. Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Peabo Bryson celebrates his life and 50-year musical legacy on the Golden Touch Tour through 2026. And he has a performance in our area Saturday, October 11th at the South Orange Performing Arts Center. The wonderful Peabo Bryson joins us today. Peabo, great to see you.
Nice to see you. Life is good.
Life is really good. And I know it's great for you because this tour that is underway, the Golden Touch Tour, has been an important one for you. How's it been going?
It's going exceptionally well. Uh, we've exceeded all our expectations in many ways. I think if you do something long enough, you kind of figure out why you do it, how you do it, and what to do. That's in a different way than you did it before, for different reasons that you did it for before. For me, when I was very young, actually around the age of my son now, I was fortunate enough to be taken to a multi-artist concert that featured Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, um the original Drifters, Little Anthony, the Imperials. I want to say Chuck Berry, or I want to say uh, the original Impressions when Lou Rawls was in their group. It was,
Wow.
so yeah, I saw something. I witnessed something for the first time that I'd never seen before in my life. Um, I watched. This is the height of segregation in the South, and all these artists were suddenly there in our 5,000 seat auditorium. And I was there witnessing all of this live with my mother and my older sister. And I watched music and their performance and their requests from the audience transcend racism, politics, religion, and any other social malaise that may have been in existence in that time. And I thought that was the most powerful thing I'd ever seen. And I thought to myself, even then, as a kid, what a wonderful thing to do. Why doesn't everybody do it? Why aren't there more? I didn't get it. But watching those artists, black artists on stage, make those transcendent statements by making the audience, which was demographically black and white equally, uh, made them fellowship together. That was, and now every day that I go to work, I try to recreate that moment with me as the protagonist.
Hmm. Was it about Sam Cooke? I know he was definitely your favorite.
Uh, I, Presence and talent, and a good spiritual background, which spoke directly to my core beliefs. Um, he transcended his. He had a natural charisma and power of transcendence that you can't buy and you can't really orchestrate. It's either in you or wasn't. Even before he was a contemporary music artist, he was a gospel artist, and when he sang, people gave their lives to God. That's a pretty powerful thing, and he just spread it out farther. In other words, he went amongst the heathens. Brave in and of itself in that era of social and political unrest, so we say. And to watch all that, watch people, black and white, put all those things aside, but just because they ask, was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. So I try to what I do now on this tour is I'm not It's not about the music for me. It's about the fellowship. That's my ultimate goal. And before any of my concerts now are over, you're going to be, if you're there, you're going to be a part of that fellowship and a part of that extraordinary moment in this time.
That's beautiful. Your mom, I think she had a clue about, she knew about exposing you to this music at an early age, didn't she?
Well, I think initially it was um, circumstance. Having four children, and two of them are very young. My grandmother was like, "Listen, you can go to the concert, and I'll keep two of these children, but you're taking two of them with you. Like, I'm not keeping four of them."
Well, thank goodness that she did,
Right,
Peabo.
right. And I was the recipient of all good that came from that one edit. How
Unbelievable.
about that? I wouldn't have even been there.
It's one thing to go watch, but you were blessed with this soulful voice, and your romantic duets with Celine Dion, Roberta Flack, and Regina Belle are legendary. And you became known as the King of Balladeers. You won your two Grammy Awards. I mentioned it before we started this. My daughter is a huge Disney fan, and when I told her that I was, going to be talking to Peabo Bryson, who has the themes for Beauty and the Beast in a whole new world, she was so excited.
You
Disney,
know why?
go ahead.
Because that music takes people back to their happy place. And even though we're all rusty adults now, but it does make us remember better times when before we had forgotten who we are and why we're here. And I think that creates a specific kind of longing and a specific kind of respect, I think, and admiration.
Since we're
I love
talking,
it.
yeah, and since we're talking about this, 5-decade career, it has to be so special when you think about being a part of those Disney movies that children and their parents will be talking and singing together with forever.
Ever, forever. Which was the reason why I couldn't understand why some artists who were offered these opportunities turned them down. I'm eternally grateful to them, but I, they were looking at it from a demographic standpoint that didn't make sense to them business wise. Whereas I don't frown on any opportunity. I kind of let fate do what fate does, and receive my blessings with gratitude as they come.
Fate would have it that you almost weren't here to celebrate this milestone, Peebo.
That's entirely true. The things that have sustained me through perilous times are basically the things I said no to, and the things I said yes to. No to drugs. It's just my thing, my personal opinion, my choice. I made it and kept it. Um, a lot of people advise me not to get married to someone as young as my wife. And if I'd chosen differently, I wouldn't be here because she saved my life.
Yeah, you had a heart attack, a
I
massive heart
did.
attack, and she was
Yep.
there to save you.
Oh, well, it's about habits that you develop in a marriage, like we kiss each other goodnight every night. That's just something we do. And she leaned over to kiss me goodnight and realized I was not breathing.
Hmm.
I didn't even know my wife knew CPR, but I apparently chose all the right woman with all the right attributes. Because, you know, it's I don't know how long I had not been breathing at that particular point, but the whole episode of having the Widowmaker, which is it feels like you're going to sleep. It doesn't hurt. There's no pain. You just feel like you're going to sleep and you don't wake up
Hmm.
ever. So when I woke 5 days later, I realized that that whole ordeal it took about 34 minutes. And that's a long time to not be breathing.
Oh my goodness.
And if she had not breathed for me, then I would have no cognizant skills left at this particular point.
Oh, Peabo. We're
I
so,
know, right?
we're so happy that she was there,
No,
right?
I'm not as happy as I am when I
I
woke up five
know.
days later.
Well, your new album, Grace, produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, will be out next year,
Yeah.
celebrating your 50 years. You also have a book filled with stories spanning your.
You know what? Yeah, and it's you'd be surprised at how that took place.
Tell me.
It it took place because I joined a group chat with some friends, mutual friends. They on some random subject, and I gave my opinion, and whatever it was sparked something in me, and I think it made me a little bit angry, and I was more forthright than I would normally be. I'm more of an ambassador. I kind of don't like to come at anybody that hard. So in other words, I'm a proponent of the philosophy of epoche. Where I wait long, long time and postpone all my rigid opinions until I've done all the research and it's comprehensive and all that, which is what the concept of epoche is.
And not many
Uh,
people do that.
how about that? I understood the value of it and made it a normal practice for me. I found that I get in a lot less trouble that way, and I get a lot less things wrong that way. So I gave my opinion, and one of the people on the random chat was Judge Hatchett. uh, so she reads my response and calls me, and I've known her for about 4 years, and she said, "You should write a book of essays." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, a book of essays. You got something to say." And I was like, "Well, I don't know about that." I said, "Writing for me has always been channeled into the music that I do. And now there's always, did I know that there's a poet inside me? Of course I did. I am what I've always been, a poet at heart. But writing that stuff or writing any um, theological stuff or philosophical stuff in my own words and thoughts, nah, not wasn't for me. So suddenly I was trying to figure out the difference between a purogram and a purograph, and, how to use a paradigm. so so yeah, I'm an incessant reader, always have been. I taught myself to read when I was 4. My son taught himself to read when he was 3.
Wow.
It's we have a form of edit memory called mnemonic memory, and once we run any information through our process, it's just there. So it's as my wife pointed out, it's not that one person is smarter than another person. It's just that some people have better memories and better access, better and quicker access to data, their data, or any data that they put into their system. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. But um, I think I started to write because there's so many things in me and learning how to write that way. And I became, I have, I acquired over time these odd friends that I actually admire as authors. Like, you get a DM from suddenly out of the blue from Deborah Harkness, you respond. So we became and that was when I was still on Twitter. but we chatted and all that. I love the way she writes, and I love the reality in her fiction. It's always factual and it's always historically accurate, and it's always geographically. accurate. I like that because she's writing about things in places and restaurants and that I've been to. So I like her work, and we talked about writing and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't writing then, so I decided that I'd give it a shot and see what I could come up with. And turns out that I'm not bad at
I'm not
it.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
surprised.
I'm not. I'm much better at it than I thought, and I've found a way to insert uh, uh, a, a, a modicum of not just humility but humor in what I have to say. I mean, it's not quite Walt Whitman, and it's not quite it's not quite Mark Twain, but it's close. It's how I see things because the world is so serious now. You better find a way to laugh at some of that stuff while taking it deadly serious.
You bet.
So it's we live in precarious times, and uh, you can't just write things that describe the water we're all drowning in. You have to, if you're not, you should first talk about the steps that people take or what happens, the progression of how we get to a certain place where we fall down one rabbit hole or another. You can talk about that so people will have a text that they're reading that can help them avoid going down some of these ridiculous rabbit holes and stick close to the facts and seek a little bit more voraciously what truth is, i.e., that same philosophical concept of epoche, especially in something like phenomenology. You gotta figure out what the facts really are. It also gives me an opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to show a side of myself that people don't know. Because my life, I've pretty much kept it private.
You
So people
have.
know me through my music, but they don't know me, and so they don't know how to recognize me. I would like for people to be able to recognize me for something that I've written and something that I said, and therefore more people will be able to recognize me. And people, uh, will say, "Wait, what do you do?" And they don't recognize me at sight. But if I mention a Disney song, oh man, they laugh when I say, well, you probably spent money on me. You don't know it yet, but
That's right.
yeah, right. It's really odd. I mean, it's the things that put me in a place where I'm not as recognizable on the site, which is changing for the better, by the way. That's one of the things that this tour has yielded me. It's my pseudo iconic status is something that's becoming has become more readily available to me, and people are more willing and quicker to express it.
Hmm.
So I like that part of it as well. I mean, it's everybody wants their. For me, I want my flowers uh, now.
Yeah.
Post life success doesn't hold any allure for me.
Hmm.
It simply doesn't. When I was a boy, I was in I had unrestricted access and unrestricted time to peruse the libraries of one of the great houses my mother worked in, and I came across William Keats, and I was like, okay, and I became immediately depressed after reading it, his work and about him. I was like, wow, and so I was a little teary eyed, and my our boss came in and said, why are you crying? And I said, well, I was just reading William Keats and about him, and if he's a lot like me, he only has his words to recommend him.
Hmm.
His art, his is the only thing that he has to recommend himself to anyone. And if a European, handsome white European, talented artist can't be successful until he dies, then what chance do I have at success at all? So I was a little, it left me a fair bit despondent. But then you have to rely on what you know, and what I knew even then was I needed to rely on my core beliefs and stick to my faith. And the covenant that I made with God did not require any sacrifice. It just required contrition.
Hmm. And Grace being the name of the new album coming out, and
Right?
I mean that you
Now
can
you
tell that
now you understand the connection to why
absolutely.
everything is grace. I mean, whether we recognize it or not, acknowledge it or not, acknowledge or unacknowledge, it's still the same grace, isn't it? And sometimes grace is secondhand grace because human beings aren't really capable of being able to handle some serious grace all given at one time.
Hmm.
We're not quite wired that way yet. We're getting there. Let's hope that we all evolve to that point. But evolution is slow, and don't get me started about Darwin at all, please.
Obviously people are going to look forward to reading the book, but they're
Yeah,
also
but
going to be
here's the thing. The side of me that the book reveals is uh, a different level of the perception of my intellect. And that, and out of all the accolades that I received, the one I'm most proud of is honorary doctorate. Because it represents a more comprehensive version of who I am and what I've done, what I do, how I am, who I am, what I am.
mm. Your solo hits speak for themselves, starting with feel the fire and reaching for the
Right?
sky. I'm so into you, and of course, if you're ever in my arms. And what probably my favorite one though is
What?
can you stop the rain? It's such a
Yeah,
beautiful tune.
you know what? I took a place in New York for a while because a lot of things happen there that don't happen anywhere else. And I didn't want to deny myself any opportunities that might come up. And turns out I was right to do it because my my A&R person was the greatest A&R man I've ever met, Jay Landers. Uh, he was going through, a few hundred songs to try to find 20 that I might like. And I felt like the least I could do was go in there and listen with him. And so I was over there listening. So I didn't like any of the things that he chosen for me. So he started playing songs that were for other artists, and he wanted my opinion. He was trying to get a more comprehensive idea of what I liked, and I understood that. So he said he played me this song. And on the demo, there was a female singing because it was for a female artist on Columbia. And it was Can You Stop the Rain? And he said, well, what do you think for this artist? I won't call her name. 'Cause he said, no, I was honest. I said, listen, I think it's a wonderful song for her, but I think it's a great song for me.
See that? See that?
Right? He said, really? He said, a man would sing that? I said, every day and twice on Sunday.
Wow. See,
That's
now
how
that
I
even means more to me now when I hear it.
act.
The
Right.
background of that. That's so wonderful. And of course, all your duets are incredible. But I
Oh,
gotta
thank
take
you.
I gotta take you back though to, tonight I celebrate my love with Roberta Flack. When you sing that song, what memories come flashing back to you?
How much I hated it when the first time I heard
Is that
it.
right?
Yeah, it was because Michael Masters is a great songwriter. We all know that. He's even a unique but great producer. But he's maybe the worst singer I've ever heard. Uh, well, and it's not just him. I mean, come on, we've all heard Burt Bacharach sing. Come on, come on, come on. Seriously, let's be honest. Roberta and I were doing a song called "Falling in Love" for the movie Harry Hamlin movie or something like that, and Bert kept trying to sing me the melody the way he wanted it sung. And I just started laughing. And he's like, "What's so funny?" I said, "You are." He said, "What's so funny about me?" I said, "Bert, you're the second worst singer I've ever heard in my life." I said that to Baccarat. It got really quiet in the studio, and he hit the talk back button and said, all he wanted to know was one thing: who's the first? I mean, the ego of these guys. I mean, he didn't care that I knew he was the second worst thing on the planet. He just wanted to know who he was better than. That's the only thing that concerned him.
I
So,
love
but
it.
so I'm in the studio with Roberta. She's Roberta Flack. She's chosen me for some unknown reason to me. I'm just happy to be there, and she loves this song. So, and she was Roberta Flack, and I was not. So, I we did a pass on it, one pass. After the first pass, you go back in, you listen, and you make adjustments if necessary. I didn't like it until I heard the first playback of us singing it.
Mm.
And it was in that moment that I knew it would be something that I would be happy and thrilled to sing for the rest of my life.
Oh, if ever you're in my arms tonight, how about that one for you?
That's Michael Masser again.
Well, thank goodness he didn't sing with you.
Well, but he made me sing that song 8 hours every day for a week. He had 120 vocal tracks that he made a comp from. It took two engineers and a scribe to just keep up with the data.
Goodness
I thought they were going to murder this guy. He'd already exceeded my entire album budget making this one song.
holy smoke.
But they wouldn't stop him, and they weren't mad at him, and it turned out to be the only number one pop record I've ever had.
Wow. So the new album's being produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Your
Right?
2018 Stand for Love was produced by that dynamic
Yeah.
duo. What has it been working like with those two gentlemen?
Well, they're icons in and of themselves, but what they do is unique. They always the first thing they do is check their egos at the door. They don't, and everything is a favorite son's, favorite nation's kind of. I don't care who wrote what. We all share equally in it. I mean, it doesn't make any difference if you wrote a song. We all share, well, equally with whatever it is. That's the first thing. That's the first two things. I like the sense of fairness. I like the sense of the atmosphere of non-ego to have to traverse in a recording situation, and I like the fact that they're not afraid to challenge me to do something. I mean, it's like I approach things a certain way, and my personality is in that. So if a lyric is like "Go on and get it," I'm gonna say "Go on and get it." That's the way I'm gonna sing it. And Terry will stop me and say, "No, no, no. In this context, it's not go on and get it. It's go and get it." And I look at him and say, "Terry, I've never said the words go and get it in my life." Right? And, I mean, I'm a lot more nerdy than people think of me as being. I just am. I'm a voracious reader, always have been. A voracious researcher, always have been. And the uh, I'm a modern day version of a black modern day version of Larry Darrell from The Razor's Edge, the protagonist in the book The Razor's Edge.
Hmm.
That would be me. I mean, I've been on a path to trying to travel a path to enlightenment and a higher spiritual oneness with God and the universe for as long as I can remember. So, uh, if I'd known what I know now, I would have just taken Bufo at 10. I would have had that
Hmm.
experience and jump started my spiritual enlightening journey as Darrell did. So that that that's pretty much me and why and how I do what I do, and working with people who are like-minded, like Terry and Jimmy. Uh, Terry doesn't say much, but when he says anything, it's always profound, and it's always we're on the same frequency. I like that, and that frequency is sometimes solo, and sometimes it's collective, and we have to decide to what degree in either way. I like working with them for that reason, and their approach to making music is they want to know you, and if you have creative attributes, or in any way, shape, or form, if you can help the process of making this music, they want you as involved as you can possibly, as your talents and your skills will allow you. That's unusual. I
Hmm.
don't know of any other producers who actually do it that way and that philosophically. Uh, that's that's their approach.
Maybe that's
The
why it
first
works.
exactly, the first thing that they do when you meet them is you just talk. You get to know each other. It's like going out on the first 10 dates or something. You
I saw them
know,
perform together at the Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival a couple of years ago, and when it
they're
was hit,
touring now.
it was hit after hit.
Oh, I
It
mean,
was
you
just
forget you
insane. It's
forget how
insane,
massive
right?
that catalog is.
Oh my goodness. So one day you wake up and you're told, Peabo, you can only sing one more song, and then you have to stay quiet. Somehow I think that song would be a religious song for you, would it not?
It would be.
What would it be?
Um, Leon Russell, song for you.
Hmm. Another thing I noticed about you through the years, you have a wonderful smile, right? You have a wonderful smile that I think, as people watch you perform, they can feel you, they can feel the emotion. But being connected to some of the most beautiful songs ever recorded, I can't imagine when we talk about the word legacy, and you're worried about, people knowing what you write, but think about how these songs will indeed go on forever. And I challenge anyone to hear a Peabo Bryson song to say, I don't like that one. I challenge you, right? Because
Boy,
not only have you sung with some of the most incredible female artists ever in your duets, but your solo songs, you were blessed. You were blessed, Peabo.
yes, I was in myriad ways, and I never once thought any of it had to do with. I didn't do any of it. I was a recipient in every single thing. I was not the creator. I did not do it. It's like somebody said that all energy on this planet is borrowed, and someday you have to give it back, which is what you were talking about. I've been allowed a long and extraordinary life. I've met some extraordinary people that impacted me. I have I've been summoned by some iconic people that I respect. Who actually wanted to hear what I thought. I think that those are the unspoken things that probably mean the most. Uh, I've been allowed and given and been extended time on this good earth. I think because I understand what my purpose is more clearly now, and I'm not quite done, or God is not quite done with me.
Absolutely not. And you're going to get an opportunity to hear Peabo Bryson live in performance at SOPAC, the South Orange Performing Arts Center, on Saturday, October
Love that. I
11th.
love that venue, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Tell me why you love that venue.
We used to do Colors of Christmas there, and I love its audience. I love the structure of it. I love what it represents. I love fine arts theaters in general because of what they are.
Yeah.
They all have a very positive theme running through all of them. for very positive reasons. And respect for art is, without those venues, I think art could possibly die as quickly as celebrity has died. I mean, dried up and died is something totally different now because anybody can manufacture it.
Yeah. And those theaters are definitely part of the community and a centerpiece of each
I
and
think
every
so.
community.
I think it recognizes their recognition of what art truly is on all levels, and that's never going to be a bad thing.
Well, people, a whole new world will be,
I know,
uh,
right?
I'm definitely the beast in Beauty and the Beast. So I want to
Well,
thank
no,
you for.
I'm that beast. I mean, it's like I didn't meet Celine until we were actually in the studio to sing, right? And she's kind of looking at me through this glass. It's a wooden partition with a glass window, so we could look at each other, but our voices won't bleed into my voice won't bleed into her microphone, and her voice won't bleed into mine. And I know that look. I've seen it before. She's looking at me like, is this guy the real deal, or is he studio manufactured? Am I going to have to dial down and dial out and dial back in? And how hard is this going to be? And so she's tentative when she starts out. And I look at her and I smile. And she looks at me and smiles back and sends some of her B plus stuff across the waves there. And I smile and send some of my B plus stuff back at her. She starts to almost laugh, and then she just relaxes, and a few takes later, we're done.
See
And then
that
what
that
people
smile
don't,
did it, Peebo.
yeah, apparently, what people don't know about the Disney songs is this unique caveat. They don't come with any instruction from anyone. There is not one suggestion made when you're singing it, when you're recording it. Whatever you give it is what it's going to have, and whatever you don't give it is what it's not going to have. That's why everything after the original people do it, it becomes a copy.
Hmm. Peabo Bryson, it has been a pleasure to meet the treasure.
Well, you don't know this has been an honor to chat with you. You're one of the best interviewers I've ever sat with, and you're easy to talk to, and you ask questions, and you're insightful and sensitive in a ways that are respectful, yet yield what the answers you're really after, and you're not afraid of the truth, and you because you're a seeker of the truth.
Thank you, sir. It's an
No,
honor.
thank you.